The doctor quietly slipped me a small note that said, "Don't go home. Run." That night, I found out the unthinkable. My own family was planning to lock me away in a nursing home just to steal everything I owned. But what they didn't know was that I had a secret. One that could change all their lives forever. My name is Evelyn Harper, and I'm 70 years old. For 45 years, I believed I had raised a loving son. David came into my life when he was only 2, a lonely, abandoned child my husband and I adopted. We poured every bit of love we had into him. I gave him an education, affection, and sacrificed my entire youth to make sure he never lacked anything. When my husband passed away 10 years ago, David became my only family. He, his wife Vanessa, and my sweet granddaughter Chloe were all I had left. But that Tuesday, what was supposed to be a normal doctor's visit, turned my whole world upside down. Dr. Henry Lawson, my physician and longtime friend, was acting strange. His hands shook a little as he checked my blood pressure, and he avoided looking me in the eye. "Everything looks fine, Mrs. Harper," he said in a strained voice. "Your tests are perfect, your heart is strong. You still have many good years ahead." I smiled, relieved, but when I turned to grab my purse, he came closer. In one swift, almost unnoticeable move, he slipped a folded piece of paper inside it. Then he said softly with a tight smile, "Take care, Mrs. Harper, and remember, family isn't always what it seems." His words sent a chill through my spine. What did he mean by that? Why would he say something so strange? I left the office with my heart pounding, but I decided not to read the note until I got home. During the cab ride, my mind wouldn't stop racing. Dr. Lawson had never acted like that before. He'd known my family since David was a boy. Why the secrecy now? When I arrived home, I found David, Vanessa, and Chloe in the living room whispering to each other. The moment they saw me, they went silent. Vanessa quickly hid some papers behind her back. "How was your appointment, Mom?" David asked, smiling, though his eyes didn't match his smile. "Everything's fine," I said lightly. "The doctor said I'm perfectly healthy." Vanessa exchanged a look with David. One that didn't escape me. Why did they seem disappointed? Were they hoping I was sick? "That's great, Grandma," Chloe said flatly, her voice oddly cold. "It means you'll have plenty of time to enjoy yourself." That evening at dinner, everyone acted strange. David barely said a word. Vanessa answered me in short sentences, and Chloe wouldn't meet my eyes. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut. "Is something wrong?" I finally asked. "No, Mom. Everything's fine," David said quickly. "We're just tired." But I knew something was off. After dinner, I went to my room with a heavy heart. The doctor's note was burning in my mind. With shaking hands, I reached into my purse and unfolded it. My breath caught as I read, "Mrs. Harper, your family came to see me yesterday. Vanessa asked me to declare that you need special care, so they can place you in a nursing home. They also asked about your inheritance and assets. Don't go home. Run. Dr. Lawson." My hands trembled uncontrollably. My own family. The son I raised with love. The daughter-in-law I treated like a daughter. The granddaughter I adored. It all made sense now. The whispers, the stares, the fake concern. They weren't disappointed because I was healthy. They were angry because the doctor didn't agree with their plan. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak, every sound made me jump. How had it come to this? How could the people I sacrificed everything for betray me? Around 2 a.m., I heard voices from the kitchen. Quietly, I tiptoed to my door and listened. I heard Vanessa's irritated voice. "That damn doctor wouldn't cooperate." I told him the old woman's losing her mind, that she forgets things, leaves the gas on, but he still insists she's fine. "Relax, my love," David said calmly. "We'll find another doctor who'll sign the papers." "What about me?" Chloe asked. "I already got accepted into college in the US. I need that money now, not in 5 years when she finally dies." "Chloe," David scolded half-heartedly. "Don't say that." But then he added, "You're not wrong. We have to act fast. The house alone is worth $500,000. Add her pension and savings. We'll be fine for years." Vanessa spoke coldly. "Look, I didn't marry you to take care of some senile old woman. I thought she'd die sooner. It's been 10 years and she's still here, wasting our money. Our money? I felt fury rising inside me. That money came from my husband's and my sweat, and they called it theirs. Tomorrow, David continued, I'll talk to the lawyer. Maybe we can have her declared mentally incompetent without a doctor. There must be a way. And if that doesn't work, Vanessa said, we'll make her life miserable until she begs to go to a nursing home. We'll stop cooking for her, take her TV, treat her like the burden she is. Mom, don't be cruel, Chloe murmured, then added coldly, but honestly, I'm tired of pretending to love her. She's always asking questions, checking where we go, who we talk to. It's annoying. My legs weakened. I leaned on the wall, shaking. These were the people I had lived for. The reason I gave up everything. Chloe laughed bitterly. Remember when she bought me that ugly red dress for my 15th birthday? Everyone laughed at me. I swore I'd get her back for that someday. Vanessa added sharply. And she's always bragging about being such a great mother, as if she's a saint. The truth is, she only adopted David because she couldn't have her own kids. He was her replacement. Enough, David said tiredly. We'll talk to her next week. Tell her we found a nice nursing home. If she refuses, we'll use Plan B. What's Plan B? Chloe asked. David's voice went cold. We'll make her lose her mind for real. We'll switch her pills, hide her things, tell her she's forgetting stuff. Within a month, any doctor will say she's insane. I gasped silently. They didn't just want my money. They wanted to destroy me completely. To make me doubt myself. To erase me. It's perfect, Vanessa said, sounding pleased. Once she's locked up, we'll have full access to her accounts. We'll sell the house, collect her pension, and no one will ever question us. Exactly, David agreed. And everyone will think we're saints, the perfect family taking care of a sick grandmother. They laughed. All three of them laughed, as if they'd told the funniest joke in the world. At that moment, something inside me snapped. It wasn't my heart, that had already been broken. It was my faith, my belief that love always comes back to you, that family means loyalty. It all shattered. Then Vanessa whispered, first thing tomorrow, I'll make copies of her cards. We can spend little by little so she won't notice. Good, David said. I'll check for her will. If we find one, we can change it. Change it? Chloe asked curiously. David smirked. Let's just say that Grandma, in her confusion, decided to leave everything to us, the only people who care for her. Dad, you're a genius, Chloe said proudly. But what if someone finds out? No one will, Vanessa said confidently. She has no friends, no family, no one who'll stand up for her. She's completely alone. They were right. I had no one left. No siblings, no close friends. I'd given my whole life to caring for David. I was vulnerable. But what they didn't know, what none of them ever bothered to find out, was that I had a secret. One that could turn everything around. When my husband died, he didn't just leave me memories. He left me a hidden inheritance, $2.2 million in an offshore account, and 3 properties overseas. No one knew about them but me. I never told David because I wanted him to love me for who I was, not what I had. But now I realized, I had been foolish. He never loved me. He had just been waiting for me to die. Well, David said finally, we all know what to do. Tomorrow, we start. And remember, in front of her, we're the loving family we've always been. Of course, Vanessa said smugly. I'm an excellent actress. I can fake loving her a little longer. I heard their footsteps fade away as they went to their rooms. And in the dark silence that followed, I made a promise. They had no idea what I was about to do next. I stood there frozen, clutching the doctor's note in my trembling hand. He was right, I had to run. But I wasn't going to run like a helpless old woman. I was going to run like someone who had just woken up from a 45-year dream, ready to fight back. I was going to plan the kind of revenge they could never imagine. I stayed up all night, wide awake, my mind racing. I didn't sleep for a second, but for the first time in months, I felt alive. They thought I was just a weak, senile grandmother. They had no idea who they were dealing with. By 5 a.m., when I was sure everyone was asleep, I quietly pulled out my smallest suitcase and began packing only the essentials: my personal documents, a few clothes, my medications, and most importantly, my little notebook that contained every detail about my secret accounts. Before leaving, I decided to do something smart, something that could help me later. I took out my phone, turned on the voice recorder, and pretended to forget something so I could walk through the house again. As I passed near David and Vanessa's room, I could hear their voices. They were already awake, whispering about their plans. Vanessa was saying she'd make copies of my bank cards. David mentioned his appointment with the lawyer, the one where he'd ask how to declare me mentally unfit. "Do you think she suspects anything?" Vanessa asked nervously. "Impossible," David said confidently. "She's too old and trusting. And even if she did, what could she do? She's broke. She's alone. We're all she's got." "It's pathetic," Vanessa muttered coldly. "A 70-year-old woman completely dependent on us. Sometimes I almost pity her, but she chose this. She could have remarried after her husband died, but she wanted to be the perfect grandmother. Well, now she'll pay for it." "Exactly," David said. "She brought this on herself." Perfect. I had recorded everything I needed, enough to destroy them. I slipped the phone back into my bag and finished getting ready. Before I left, I wrote a short note and placed it on the kitchen table. "Gone to run some errands. I'll be back later. Evelyn." They'd never suspect anything. After all, no one expects a so-called senile old woman to plan a secret escape. I took a cab straight to the nearest bank. It was Wednesday morning, and I had a few hours before they'd realize I was gone. At the counter, I asked to withdraw $5,000 in cash and checked my secret accounts. Everything was still safe. The teller, a young woman named Laura, gave me a curious look. "Are you sure, ma'am? That's a lot to carry around in cash," she said gently. "I'm sure," I replied firmly. "I have personal matters to handle." After leaving the bank, I called another cab, this time to the Grand Imperial Hotel, the most elegant one in the city. I needed a safe, quiet place to plan my next moves, and this hotel was perfect: discreet, comfortable, and secure. "How long will you be staying with us?" The receptionist, a stylish woman in her 40s, asked politely. "I'm not sure yet," I said. "Maybe a week, maybe several months. Depends on how some family issues turn out." She nodded in understanding and handed me a key to a suite on the 10th floor. As the elevator went up, I felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. For the first time in decades, I was finally making choices for myself. The suite was stunning, spacious, beautifully decorated, and overlooking the city skyline. I sat on the sofa and, for the first time since this nightmare began, let myself cry. I cried for the 45 years I had devoted to raising a son who now saw me as a burden. I cried for all the humiliation I had endured without even realizing it. I cried for the woman I used to be. Before I became the perfect grandmother they looked down on. But once the tears were gone, I wiped my face and got to work. I opened my notebook and began to write a plan. Step 1. Contact my financial advisors overseas to reactivate my accounts. Step 2. Hire the best lawyer in the city. Step 3. Find a private investigator to collect evidence of everything my family had done and was planning to do. At 2 p.m., my phone started to ring. It was David. "Mom, where are you? It's already afternoon, and you haven't come back," he said, pretending to sound worried. But underneath I could hear irritation. "I'm fine, son," I said calmly. "I decided to take a day for myself. It's been a long time since I've done that." "A day for yourself? What's that supposed to mean? Where exactly are you?" His tone was sharp. "I'm in the city taking care of a few things," I lied smoothly. "Don't worry. I'll come back when I'm done." "Mom, this isn't like you. You always tell us where you're going." Vanessa's worried, and so is Chloe. "We need to know where you are," he said, and for the first time in years, I heard something different in his voice. Panic. Not worry, panic. He was terrified because he had lost control of me. "You know what, David?" I said, my voice steady. "I'm 70 years old. I think I'm old enough to decide where I want to go and what I want to do." There was a long pause. "Mom, you're scaring me. You don't sound like yourself." Are you taking your medications? He asked. There it was, the first step in their plan. They were already trying to make me sound crazy. I'm perfectly fine, David. In fact, I've never felt better. I replied and hung up. Then I turned off my phone completely. I needed silence to think, and peace to plan. That same afternoon, I visited the most prestigious law firm in the city. The head attorney, Dr. Richard Montgomery, a man in his 50s with kind but sharp eyes, met with me personally after I mentioned the size of my case and my ability to pay. I need full legal protection, I said firmly. My family is trying to have me declared mentally unfit so they can steal my assets. But I have proof, recordings that expose their entire plan. Dr. Montgomery listened carefully as I played the audio I had captured that morning. With each passing second, his face grew darker. Mrs. Harper, this is extremely serious, he said. What your family is doing amounts to elder abuse, conspiracy to commit fraud, and possibly document forgery. They could face criminal charges. That's exactly what I want, I replied coldly. But I want to do it smartly. I want them to pay, in the most painful way possible. Dr. Montgomery smiled slightly, the confident smile of a man who loved a good fight. Mrs. Harper, I think you and I are going to work very well together, he said. I'll assign my best team to your case. But I need you to tell me everything, absolutely everything. So I told him, about adopting David, about my late husband, about the years of sacrifice, about the hidden inheritance, about everything. When I finished, he looked up from his notes. Do you know the exact amount in your secret accounts? $2.2 million in cash, I said, plus 3 properties overseas worth around another $1.5 million. He paused, then smiled with admiration. Mrs. Harper, you're not a helpless victim. You're a powerful woman who's been underestimated by her own family, and we're going to use that power to teach them a lesson they'll never forget. For the first time in days, I smiled genuinely. The war had officially begun, and this time, I had the right weapons. That night, from my hotel suite, I turned my phone back on. There were 37 missed calls from David, 15 from Vanessa, and 8 from Chloe. The messages were pouring in, full of fake concern. Mom, please answer. We're worried. Evelyn, if you don't reply, we'll call the police. Grandma, where are you? Dad says you'll get into trouble. I replied to only one David's. I've fine. Don't worry. I'll come back when I'm ready. His response came within seconds. Mom, this isn't normal. You need to come home now. Vanessa made your favorite dinner. I almost laughed. After 45 years, he still didn't know that Vanessa had never cooked anything special for me in her life. It was just another lie. Another act of manipulation. The next morning, Dr. Montgomery called me early. Mrs. Harper, I have news, he said. My investigators already dug up something shocking. Your daughter-in-law, Vanessa, has been using your personal information to open credit cards in your name for the past 6 months. What? I exclaimed, anger boiling inside me. She has 5 active cards you never approved, he said. The total debt is about $43,000. Spent on luxury stores, fancy restaurants, even a trip to the Florida Keys last month. But I've never been to the Florida Keys, I said, stunned. He nodded grimly. No, ma'am. They did. Your family went on a week-long vacation, all paid for with your money, while telling you they were visiting Vanessa's sick mother. The memory hit me hard. I remembered that week perfectly, Vanessa crying, begging for help because her mother was very ill. I had given them even more money for the trip, thinking I was helping. My heart sank. Dr. Montgomery, what else did your investigator find? He hesitated, then said quietly, your son David lost his job 8 months ago. He never told you. He's been living off your pension and savings. We also discovered that he's contacted 3 different doctors, trying to find one who'll declare that you suffer from senile dementia. Each new truth felt like a deeper stab. They hadn't just planned to rob me. They'd already been taking my money for months. They didn't just want to call me insane. They had already started that process. And my granddaughter, Chloe? I asked, my voice shaking. She has her own secrets, Mrs. Harper, Dr. Montgomery said. She's 3 months pregnant, And she's lying to her parents about the father. The real father is a married man in his 50s. He promised to leave his wife, but now he wants nothing to do with the baby. Oh my God, I whispered. My granddaughter, the girl I helped raise, was mixed up in a scandal that could ruin her future. There's more, Dr. Montgomery went on. Vanessa has been having an affair with your neighbor, Greg, for the last 2 years. My investigator has photos and videos to prove it. Greg? Emily's husband? I asked, thinking of the kind woman next door. That's right, he said. Vanessa and Greg meet at a motel on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons while David thinks she's at yoga. The irony was brutal. While they plotted to destroy me by calling me crazy, each of them was living a lie far worse than anything they accused me of. Dr. Montgomery, document all of this, I said, my resolve returning. Every lie, every theft, every betrayal. When it's time to confront them, I want hard evidence of everything. Of course, Mrs. Harper, he said. But I have a suggestion. Instead of confronting them right away, why not let them dig their own grave a little deeper? That afternoon, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went shopping for new clothes. I visited the city's most elegant stores and bought 3 beautiful dresses. A sleek black one, a bold red one, and an emerald green one that made me feel powerful. I also bought new shoes, a real leather handbag, and then got my hair done at the most exclusive salon in town. The stylist, a young woman named Kayla, worked on my hair for 3 hours. Ma'am, you have beautiful hair, she said as she styled it. Why have you neglected it for so long? Because for a long time, I didn't think I was worth the effort, I answered honestly. I thought my only job was to be the invisible grandmother who takes care of everyone else. Well, those days are over, Kayla said firmly. When I'm done, you'll look like the queen you've always been. She was right. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back. My hair had a modern, elegant cut, with highlights that brightened my face. I looked strong. I looked powerful. That night, while having dinner in the hotel restaurant, I called David. Mom, finally. Where on earth have you been? His voice sounded angry, not worried. Taking care of myself, son, I said calmly. I haven't taken time for me in years. It's been eye-opening. Mom, this has to stop. You can't just disappear. We're your family. We have a right to know where you are. A right? I repeated, letting it hang. Since when does my family have a right over me? Since you started acting erratically, he shot back. There it was again, trying to plant the idea that I wasn't stable. Erratic? Is it erratic for a 70-year-old woman to take a few days for herself? Yes, when she's never done anything like that before. Mom, I think you need to talk to a specialist. You're acting very strangely. A specialist? I asked, feigning confusion. What kind of specialist, David? A psychologist, Mom. Someone who can help with these behavior changes. Perfect. He just revealed his intentions on a call I was recording. You know what, son? You're right. I do need specialized help, I said. I heard him sigh with relief. I'm glad you understand, Mom. Oh, I understand perfectly, I said. I need a specialist in family fraud, a specialist in elder abuse, and a specialist in psychological manipulation, because that's exactly what you've all been doing to me. Silence. Heavy, stunned silence. Mom, what are you talking about? I know everything, David, I said. I know about the fake credit cards Vanessa opened in my name. I know about your plan to have me declared incompetent. I know about the doctors you contacted. I know it all. Mom, that's ridiculous. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you really need medical help. You know what else I know? You lost your job 8 months ago and have been living off my money while lying to my face. I know about the Florida Keys trip you paid for with my stolen money. And I know other things that will shock you when you see them in court. You're delirious, he said, but his voice had lost its confidence. Delirious? Last night I heard you planning to make me actually lose my mind by switching my medications. Is that a delusion too? This time the silence was even longer. Mom, come home. We can talk about this as a family. No, David. We are not a family anymore. A family doesn't betray you like you betrayed me. A family doesn't plan to break someone's mind to steal their money. Mom, please. I'm giving you one chance. Confess everything. Apologize sincerely. Return every penny you stole. If you do that, maybe, just maybe, I can find a way to forgive you. We have nothing to confess, he said, but his voice was shaking. Then I'll see you in court, son. Good night. I hung up, and for the first time in days, I felt truly at peace. The war was officially declared, and I had all the weapons. The next few days were an emotional roller coaster. My phone wouldn't stop ringing with desperate calls from my family. First came the love act. Messages with tears from Chloe saying how much she missed me. Shaky apologies from Vanessa about misunderstandings. And pleas from David to come home and clear things up. When that didn't work, they switched to fear and threats. David left a voicemail. Mom, if you don't come back right away, we'll have to take legal steps to protect you from yourself. Your erratic behavior is forcing us to consider legal guardianship. But Dr. Richard Montgomery had prepared me. Let them file for guardianship, he advised during one meeting. It'll become our best proof of their true intentions. And we already have 3 independent psychiatrists who've certified that you're in perfect mental health. Meanwhile, my private investigator was busy. Every day brought new reports that shocked me more than I thought possible. Mrs. Harper, he told me at our Friday meeting, since you disappeared, your family has sped up their plans. Yesterday, David went to your bank trying to access your accounts, claiming you had a psychotic episode, and he needed to manage your finances temporarily. And what did the bank say? I asked. Thankfully, the manager is very professional. He told David he'd need official legal documents to make any changes. David pushed so hard they asked him to leave. There's more, he continued. Vanessa has been selling your belongings. Yesterday, she posted several of your antique furniture pieces on an online marketplace. She also tried to sell your jewelry at a pawn shop, but the appraiser refused because the pieces clearly belonged to an older woman, and Vanessa couldn't prove she had permission. My heart pounded. Those jewels were gifts from my late husband, unique pieces he'd collected over decades. And my granddaughter, Chloe? I asked, my throat tight. She's been the most active, he said. She's telling friends you have advanced Alzheimer's, and the family may have you committed. She's also using that story to borrow money, saying it's for your medical care. Each revelation hurt more than the last. They weren't just stealing from me. They were ruining my name and using my supposed illness to trick other people. But here's the most interesting part, the investigator added. Last night, the 3 of them met at your house with a man our sources identified as Mark Doyle, a document forger known in the city's criminal circles. A forger? I asked, feeling ice in my veins. Apparently, they plan to create fake medical documents that say you're mentally incompetent. Mark Doyle was an expert in creating fake medical histories and forging doctors' signatures. This was far worse than I'd imagined. They weren't just planning to rob me. They were ready to commit serious crimes to get what they wanted. Dr. Montgomery, I said over the phone that same afternoon, I think it's time to speed up our plan. If we wait any longer, they'll have fake documents that could cause real trouble. I agree, Mrs. Harper, he said. Are you ready for Phase 2? Phase 2 was simple but brilliant. Instead of confronting them directly, we'd let them expose themselves, in public. That Monday morning, I wore my new elegant black dress, my finest jewelry, and went straight to the city's most prestigious real estate agency. I had booked an appointment to view luxury homes, properties worth over $1 million. Mrs. Harper, the agent greeted warmly. He was a polished man named Rick. It's a pleasure to meet you. I understand you're interested in a high-value property. That's right, I said confidently. I'm looking for something that reflects a new chapter in my life, elegant, modern, and secure. Perfect, he smiled. I have 3 homes that might interest you. What Rick didn't know was that everything had been planned. My private investigator had arranged for David, Vanessa, and Chloe to coincidentally show up at the same real estate office at 11 a.m. Right in the middle of my second property tour. We were admiring a stunning mansion when I heard familiar voices in the lobby. Excuse me, Rick, I said with a calm smile. I think I know the people who just arrived. When we went downstairs, there they were, the three of them, dressed in their best clothes, talking to another agent. "We're interested in selling a property," David was saying. "It's my mother's house, but she's unwell. We have power of attorney to handle her affairs." "Power of attorney?" the agent asked. "May I see the documents?" "Well, we're still finalizing the paperwork," Vanessa said nervously. "But it'll be ready in a few days. We just want to start the appraisal process." "Hello, family," I said loudly from the stairs. All three froze. David's face turned white, Vanessa's mouth opened without a sound, and Chloe actually stepped backward. "Mom," David stammered. What are you doing here?" "The same thing you are, apparently," I replied calmly as I descended the stairs. "Except I'm here to buy, not sell." Rick turned to me looking puzzled. "Mrs. Harper, do you know these people?" "Unfortunately, yes," I said dryly. "This is my family. Or at least I thought they were." "Mom, we need to talk," David said, trying to sound in control. "About what, David?" I asked. "About how you were planning to sell my house without my permission. About the fake documents you're working on? Or about that power of attorney you just lied about?" The other agent looked lost. "Excuse me," he said carefully. "If there's a legal dispute, we can't proceed with the appraisal." "There's no dispute," Vanessa blurted. "She just hasn't been right in the head lately." "Oh, I'm not right in the head?" I said loudly so everyone could hear. "Is that why I'm here buying $1.5 million home with my own money?" Rick's jaw nearly dropped. $1.5 million? Chloe whispered. "Yes, dear granddaughter," I said sweetly. "It turns out your senile grandmother has more money than you ever imagined." I took out my phone and dialed. "Dr. Montgomery, I'm at Richardson Associates Realty. My family is here trying to sell my house without my consent and claiming they have power of attorney over me. Could you send someone to document this?" "Of course, Mrs. Harper," he said. "My team will be there in 15 minutes." I hung up and turned to my family, completely calm. "Now," I said, "we'll wait for my lawyers to arrive. They'll explain exactly what legal documents you have, how you got them, and why you think you have the right to sell my property." David took a hesitant step forward. "Mom, this is a misunderstanding. We can sort it out at home." "No," I said sharply, stepping back. "There's nothing left to fix at home. I no longer have a home, not with you in it." Vanessa began to cry, but her tears were of panic, not guilt. "Evelyn, please," she begged. "We're family. Everything we did was for your own good." "For my own good?" I repeated, raising my voice. "Stealing my money with fake credit cards was for my own good? Forging medical papers was for my own good? Hiring a criminal to fake my medical history was for my own good?" The entire office went silent. Clients and employees stopped what they were doing and stared, horrified. "We don't know what you're talking about," Chloe shouted. "Really?" I said, pulling out my phone. "Then let's hear something together." I pressed play. David's voice echoed through the room. "We make her really lose her mind. We switch her medications. We hide her things. We tell her she did things she didn't do. In a month, any doctor will say she's mentally ill." The silence that followed was unbearable. Every face in the room turned toward my family with disgust. "That recording is illegal," Vanessa screamed. "Not in this state," I said evenly. "And certainly not when it's proof of a planned crime." At that moment, 2 lawyers from Montgomery and Associates entered with a public notary. "Mrs. Harper," one said, "we're here to document this situation. We understand these people claim to have authority over your affairs." "That's correct," I said. "Please record officially that these 3 individuals have no legal power over me, my assets, or my estate, and that any attempt to act otherwise is fraud." One lawyer turned to David. "Sir, do you have documentation supporting your claim to sell this property?" David opened and closed his mouth, speechless. "We're in the process of." "In other words," I interrupted, "they have nothing. No authority, no documents, just a criminal plan to take everything I own." The humiliation was total. When I walked out, my family followed me onto the street, shouting and pleading. "Mom, wait!" David cried. "Can't we fix this? It's all a misunderstanding. Grandma, please. Chloe sobbed. I love you, you can't do this to us. Vanessa dropped the act completely. You bitter old woman, she shouted. You've used us for years. David gave you the best years of his life, and this is how you repay him. The best years of his life, I said from the cab window. You mean the years I worked 18 hours a day to raise him? The years I gave up my career, my friends, my peace, just for him. You chose to adopt him, Vanessa spat. No one forced you. Stop acting like we owe you something. I don't expect gratitude, I said quietly. All I ever wanted was not to be robbed, not to be betrayed, not to be driven insane for money. Apparently, that was too much to ask. I told the driver to go. My family's voices faded behind me as the cab pulled away. That afternoon, Dr. Montgomery called me for an urgent meeting. Mrs. Harper, he said, smiling. I have extraordinary news. Your family made a fatal mistake after the real estate incident. What kind of mistake? I asked. In their panic, David went straight to Mark Doyle and paid him $50,000 in advance to finish your fake medical documents faster. $50,000? I gasped. Where did they get that kind of money? From the credit cards in your name, and Vanessa sold her car. But here's the best part. Mark Doyle is an FBI informant. He's been working with federal agents for 6 months to expose a document forging ring. I was speechless. You mean my family isn't just being investigated for fraud? They're now under federal investigation? Exactly, he said. The FBI has audio and video of the entire transaction. That night, back in my hotel suite, I decided it was time. It was time to confront them, not face to face, but in a way they'd never forget. I opened my laptop and created an account on the country's biggest live streaming platform. My title was simple but powerful. A grandma tells the truth about her family. At 8 p.m. I went live. At first, only 3 people watched. But soon the numbers started climbing. Good evening. I began looking into the camera. My name is Evelyn Harper. I'm 70 years old, and tonight, I'm going to tell you a story that will change how you see perfect families. Within 20 minutes, 500 people were watching. By the end of the hour, over 3,000. I told them everything, from David's adoption to the secret note from Dr. Lawson, from the fake credit cards to their plan to make me lose my mind. I played the recordings. I showed documents. I revealed every betrayal in full detail. The live chat exploded. What a wicked family. Mrs. Harper, you're a hero. Sue them, make them pay. Halfway through, I got a live call from Chloe. Grandma, please end this stream, she begged. You're ruining our lives. I'm ruining your lives? I said so everyone could hear. Did you all not try to ruin mine first? Grandma, everyone's watching, my school, my friends. I can't even go outside. And how would you feel if your own family locked you away in a nursing home, called you crazy and stole everything you had? That was never going to happen. We were just exploring options. Exploring options? I shouted for the first time. Chloe, I raised you. I cared for you your whole life. And you smiled while your parents plotted to destroy me. The chat went wild. Tell her the truth. This girl has no shame. Don't let her guilt you, Mrs. Harper. Grandma, Chloe said finally, her voice cracking. I needed money for college and other things. You thought what? I snapped. You thought I was your personal bank? That you could help ruin me and then use my money for your future? It's not like that. Then explain it to the 4,000 people watching right now. Tell them why you borrowed money using my name, pretending it was for my care. There was silence. Then faintly, how do you know that? Because I'm not the senile old woman you thought I was. I know everything, Chloe. Even things your parents don't. What things? She asked nervously. Things that could ruin your future more than this live stream ever could. She hung up instantly. But the damage was done. Everyone had heard her admit enough. 5 minutes later, the phone rang again. It was David, furious. Mom, stop this live stream right now. Hello, David, I said sweetly. Would you like to speak to the 5,000 people watching? This is defamation. I'll sue you for slander. Slander. I laughed. Is it slander to play your own voice plotting to make me insane? Is it slander to show bank statements with your thefts? Those recordings are illegal. Not here, son. And not when they're proof of a crime. But tell me, do you want to explain why you paid a forger $50,000 yesterday? Silence. How do you know that? Because David, Mark Doyle is an FBI informant. Congratulations. Now you're under federal investigation. You're lying. Check the news tomorrow. Or better yet, wait for the FBI to knock on your door. The chat exploded again. FBI. FBI. Justice for Grandma. She's unstoppable. Mom, David said finally, his voice breaking. Please stop this. We can fix it. We're still family. Family. I said softly. A family doesn't lie. A family doesn't steal. A family doesn't try to destroy one of its own. You're not a family. You're a criminal partnership that shares my last name. We gave you 45 years of our lives, he shouted. No, David, I said quietly. I gave you 45 years of mine. I gave up everything for you. And you were just waiting for me to die. We needed that money, Mom. We have debts. And that's why you tried to drive me insane? That's why you tried to steal from me? That's why you wanted to destroy the last years of my life? It wasn't personal, he said weakly. Those 3 words cut deeper than any knife. It wasn't personal. 45 years of love and sacrifice. And to him it meant nothing. You're right, David, I said finally. It wasn't personal for you. And from now on, it won't be personal for me either. I'll see you in court. I looked back into the camera and smiled sadly. And that, dear viewers, was my family, I said. Tomorrow I'll continue this story. Good night. When I ended the stream, more than 7,000 people were watching. Thousands of messages of love and support flooded in. For the first time in weeks, I slept peacefully. I wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, I woke to an explosion of notifications. The video had gone viral. Millions had seen it overnight. Journalists, lawyers, and even strangers sent me messages of support. One said, "My son tried the same thing. You've given me courage." Another said, "I'm a lawyer who fights elder abuse. I'll help you for free." But one message moved me most, from Emily Lawson, a social worker. "Mrs. Harper, your courage just saved another grandparent. I stopped a family from committing their 75-year-old father after watching your story." At 9 a.m., Dr. Montgomery called again. "Mrs. Harper," he said, smiling, "I have news that changes everything. The FBI arrested Mark Doyle last night, and he confessed to everything. Your family's payments, the forged medical files, even a fake will they asked him to create, leaving everything to them and claiming you were incompetent when you signed." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. A fake will. The plan had been darker and deeper than I ever could have imagined. They hadn't just wanted to take my life. They'd wanted to erase it. Then they would use the fake will, wait for me to die in a nursing home, and legally take everything. My God, I whispered. How long have they planned this? According to Mark Doyle, Dr. Montgomery said, Vanessa contacted him 4 months ago. So this wasn't a last-minute idea. It was a careful, premeditated plot. That afternoon, while I was processing all this in my hotel suite, I got an unexpected call. It was Chloe, and for the first time in weeks, her voice sounded truly broken. "Grandma, can we please talk? Just you and me." "What for, Chloe? So you can lie again? So you can emotionally manipulate me?" "No, Grandma. To tell you the truth. All of it. I can't take this anymore." Something in her tone made me pause. I decided to take the risk. "Okay, but it will be in a public place with witnesses, and I'm recording everything." "Whatever you want, please." We met at the cafe in the hotel lobby. Chloe came in with swollen eyes, carelessly dressed, so unlike the polished girl I knew. "Grandma," she started before I could speak, "you have to know I never wanted things to go this far." "How far, Chloe? What did you think was acceptable?" "At first, Mom and Dad just talked about convincing you to move to a luxury nursing home. They said it would be better, that you'd have people your age around." "And what did you think?" I thought maybe they were right. The house is big for you alone. Sometimes you looked lonely. She met my eyes. But that was before I knew about the money. What money? I asked. They didn't know about my secret accounts. No, but they knew about your pension, your local bank savings, and the house value. Mom had been digging for months, going through your papers when you were out. She called the bank pretending to be you. She even visited your old boss to ask about your retirement. Each new fact felt like a deeper cut. And when they decided it wasn't enough to just convince me, Chloe started crying. When Mom found out you could live another 20 years, she said she couldn't wait that long, that she needed the money now. What for? To pay Dad's debts. He lost a lot on sports betting these last 2 years. He owes over $100,000 to dangerous people. Another blow. David hadn't just lost his job, he was addicted to gambling and in serious debt. And what was your part in all this? I needed money for college. And for other things. Her hand moved to her belly without thinking. Other things like what, Chloe? I'm pregnant, Grandma, she finally said. The father is a married man who wants nothing to do with the baby. I need money to decide what to do. My heart broke for her, but anger burned too. And that's why you joined a plan to make me look crazy. I didn't know they wanted to make you crazy, she blurted, loud enough that people turned. I thought they just wanted a doctor to say you needed special care. What's the difference, Chloe? I don't know. I guess there isn't one. She cried quietly for a few minutes. Grandma, when you left, everything fell apart. Dad and Mom fight nonstop. Mom says it's his fault for gambling. Dad says it's her fault for being greedy. And I'm stuck between them, pregnant and terrified. And now, what do you want from me? I want you to forgive me. And if you testify against Mom and Dad, I'll tell the truth. Everything I know, everything I saw, everything I heard. I sat there, weighing this sudden offer. Why change sides now, Chloe? Because last night Dad said if things go bad, they'll say I planned stealing your jewelry. They'll claim I pushed them because I needed money for drugs. Drugs. I don't do drugs, Grandma. But Dad says it's more believable to blame the rebellious teenager than admit they planned it. The final betrayal. Now they were ready to sacrifice their own daughter to save themselves. Do you have proof? Chloe pulled out her phone. I recorded their fights since you left. I have texts where they plan to blame me. I have videos of Mom counting the cash from selling your jewelry. Why record all that? Because a week ago I realized that once this is over, they'll abandon me too. I'm underage, pregnant, and broke. They'll need a scapegoat, and that'll be me. I searched her face, trying to see if this was another game. Or the truth at last. Chloe, if you testify against your parents, your life will change forever. Your relationship with them will be over. It already is, Grandma. It ended when they used me in their plan against you, and then decided to throw me under the bus. And what do you want in return for your testimony? I want help to finish high school. I want help making the right choice about my pregnancy. And I want you to teach me how to be strong like you. For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of our old bond. Chloe, if you do this, if you help me get justice, I won't just help with school and your situation. I'll give you something more valuable. What? I'll teach you that real family isn't just blood. It's loyalty, respect, and true love. And sometimes protecting yourself means stepping away from toxic people, even if they share your last name. Chloe reached across the table. Deal, Grandma. I shook her hand, knowing this was the beginning of the end for David and Vanessa. Deal, my girl. But now you're my ally, and allies protect each other. Are you ready for that? More ready than I've ever been. The trial came faster than I expected. In just 3 weeks, Dr. Montgomery built a case so strong that even my family's pricey lawyer advised them to plead guilty for lighter sentences. But David and Vanessa refused. They wanted a trial. Sure, they could fool the jury with a loving family caring for a confused grandmother act. On the first day, I arrived in my sharpest black suit. Chloe moved into the hotel with me for the duration of the case. Nervous, Grandma? She asked as we climbed the courthouse steps. No, my girl, I said calmly. I'm at peace. The truth always finds its way. The courtroom was packed. My story had gone national after the live streams. Reporters, cameras, and dozens of older people showed up to support me. When I saw David and Vanessa at the defense table, I barely recognized them. David was thin with deep circles under his eyes. Vanessa looked gaunt and jumpy. The fear of prison had already taken its toll. The prosecutor told the story masterfully, playing the audio where they planned to break my mind, showing the credit card fraud, explaining the forger conspiracy, and finally revealing the fraudulent mortgage on my house. But the most powerful moment came when Chloe testified for the prosecution. "Miss Harper," the prosecutor asked, "what did you hear when your parents discussed plans for your grandmother?" With a steady voice, Chloe told it all. Every conversation, every plan, every betrayal. She described the medication plot, the money they calculated from my death, and their decision to blame her if it all failed. When she finished, the courtroom was silent. I saw jurors wiping tears. The defense tried to tear her down. "Miss, isn't it true you're pregnant and need money?" the lawyer pressed. "Yes, I'm pregnant," Chloe said with dignity. "And yes, I need help. But I'm not lying to get it. I'm telling the truth because it's right." "And isn't it convenient your grandmother promised support in exchange for your testimony?" "My grandmother didn't promise me money for testifying," she replied firmly. "She promised support because I finally chose to do the right thing. That's different." When it was my turn, I took the stand, feeling every eye on me. "Mrs. Harper," the prosecutor asked, "how did you feel when you discovered your family's plan?" "I felt like I'd lived a lie for 45 years, I said. "They didn't just betray me. They made me question every moment of love I thought I had. They made me wonder if I was ever anything more than a wall between them and my money." "And how do you feel now?" "Now I feel free," I said, looking straight at David. "Free of lies, free of manipulation, and free of the duty to love people who never truly loved me." The defense tried to paint me as a vengeful rich woman. "Mrs. Harper, isn't it true you have millions your family didn't know about?" "It's true they didn't know," I said. "But that doesn't justify trying to drive me insane, stealing my identity, or forging legal documents." "Didn't your family deserve to know about the money?" "Deserve? For what? For planning to lock me away? For months of theft? For the cruelest betrayal?" The trial lasted 5 days. The jury deliberated just 2 hours and returned with a unanimous verdict. Guilty on all counts. David got 12 years for conspiracy, fraud, forgery, and elder abuse. Vanessa got 10 years for the same, plus mortgage fraud. When the judge read the sentences, Vanessa broke down sobbing. David just stared, empty. Outside the courtroom, a reporter asked, "Mrs. Harper, do you feel justice was served?" "I feel legal justice was served," I said. But the deeper justice was finding myself again, before it was too late to enjoy the rest of my life. 6 months later, I bought a lovely smaller house on the edge of the city. It's full of light, with a sweet garden where Chloe and I spend our afternoons. Chloe finished high school with honors and chose to keep the baby. She's now studying law, because of everything we went through, and wants to specialize in protecting the elderly. "Grandma," she asked a few weeks ago while we gardened, "do you ever regret adopting Dad?" "I don't regret adopting him," I said, brushing the flowers. "I only regret not learning sooner that kindness should never require destroying yourself." "And what did you learn from all this?" "I learned that real family isn't time or blood, it's mutual respect, true loyalty, and unconditional love. I learned it's better to be alone with dignity than surrounded by betrayal. And I learned it's never too late to start over." Now at 71, I'm living my fullest life. I travel, I read, I have new friends, and best of all, I have a real bond with my granddaughter, who has become the daughter of my heart. David and Vanessa have tried writing from prison, but their letters go straight to the trash, unopened. Some doors, once closed, must stay closed. Every night before bed, I thank God for 3 things. For Dr. Lawson, who had the courage to warn me. For the strength I didn't know I had. And for learning that endings can be beginnings, if you're brave enough to write your own story. Kindness still guides me, but now I practice it with wisdom. I help other elders facing similar abuse. I support Chloe in her studies. And I started a foundation to fight elder abuse. Most importantly, I finally learned to love myself as much as I loved everyone else. And that, my dears, is the best lesson of all. Did you enjoy the story? And where are you watching from? Tell me in the comments. Thank you so much for your love. I can't wait to read your comments. On the screen now are 2 more true life stories I recommend. There's so much more on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.